God.
Yeah, thank God. I don't like looking at you either.
All right, Rek'Sai ban out of the gate from SK Telecom.
That's right. Rek'Sai, a bit surprising because Bengi has had such a priority on Rek'Sai in his matches. So I'm wondering where they're going to go for this. Probably maybe an early Evelyn.
Maybe they want the Evelyn pick, yeah. So just to get rid of that tremor sense, make sure, you know, Bengi can get around, use that invisibility to the full extent. Nautilus ban followed by an Evelyn ban from SBENU Sonicboom.
That makes sense. Of course, Bengi, definitely not the top Gragas player here in Korea, and SKT tends to shy away from that Gragas pick. They could ban it last here and try and put Bengi on something different, but if not, they're going to be pigeonholed into first picking the Gragas, but they are going to take it out. And now is the Alistair going away, one of Wolf's top champions, and something that SKT really likes to play around with.
Well, let's see. The Alistar is a strong pick, but Wolf also has a fairly decent champion pool. He has that Kennen pocket pick, so maybe if you just don't want to deal with the Alistar because it's such a power pick, maybe you'd ban it. But if you're trying to target Wolf specifically, I think he'll be comfortable on something else as well.
So Sivir or Alistair, the likely first picks here for SK Telecom, if they can get their hands on them. Although SKT, not as much of a Sivir-focused team as many in this league. In a lot of ways, they prefer to play with that Corki when possible. So they're going to give Sivir over to Nuclear for sure in the first round of this draft. And then Bengi will be left seeing what he can get in the jungle right now. A lot of those priority picks fallen by the wayside.
Well, it looks like SBENU is hovering over the Maokai as well, which I think is a fairly good pick here. Mar no slouch on Maokai, but he's also a fantastic Rumble player. So
yeah, he's just going to pick Rumble, I think, if the Maokai gets locked in, and he shouldn't have any trouble playing that champion, one of his most played champion this season overall. Yeah. So even though they're going to deny the Maokai, I don't think that SK Telecom is likely too concerned.
So if they lock this in, SBENU might be going for a hard engage composition with just these two pieces. Oh, Thresh.
Wow, the Thresh priority coming out very early. So will the Rumble or the Maokai be selected by SK Telecom? They probably will take Corki in this scenario. Even though SKT have been playing more Tristana recently, they're playing Tristana in their last game with a Kennen support versus Janair. I have to say, I don't think it worked very well.
Yeah.
I wasn't really sold on the Trist Kennen lane. They seem to have some troubles with it, and they very nearly lost that game.
I feel like if you're going to play a Kennen support, you want to synergize. Oh, whoa, an Echo pick. Yeah, you want to synergize that Kennen with maybe another lane bully AD carry that can do poke damage as well. Then you just really double down on the amount of poke damage that you do in lane.
Well, the Echo. Is this Faker's Echo is going to be the big question. It's obviously a champion that we have really wanted to see him play. It is still 5.11 this week in Korea, so that is not going to be a nerfed Echo. That is going to be a very powerful Echo indeed. So I know we talked about this yesterday, a lot of the Korean teams have said, we don't like Echo that much. This region has played it significantly less than the LCS regions and the LPL. Most Korean players think he will be unplayable on 5.12.
Right, especially after the mana cost addition to his ultimate, along with nerfs to his passive and other damage sources. So Azir and Maokai going to be the answering picks from SBENU.
So a very safe composition that they've managed to cobble together so far. They will not be going for the Lulu mid that they had the last time they won a game, and there is Bengi yawning as usual.
And Bang is trolling Cloud Templar with the Amumu and Shen hovers. He actually doesn't sound that happy right now about it.
I actually love that this has now been going on for years.
2 years now at this point almost,
So 2 years of trolling Cloud Templar in picks and bans, to the degree that a team was actually banned from Champions. That's how far it has gone to the end point.
The legendary Team Dark with their Cloud Templar composition. I think they were missing the poking Lee Sin in there, I'm not sure, but Victor hover along with the Fizz. So will this be a Echo jungle or Fizz top?
That's going to be the question. We don't know. Either way, you have to think that this is not a very Marin or Bengi-like pick right here. I'm going to imagine it's going to be Echo Jungle and Fizz top just because that makes more sense, generally speaking. The Fizz jungles are not very efficient in terms of their clear, and I just think it's a pretty lackluster pick as far as junglers go right now. Echo, on the other hand, I think is quite good at the moment.
Well, we also, if you look at his summoners from Marin currently, it's Ignite Teleport, which would be a little bit different from most top lane Fizzes. So
that's true. It could be Marin. Very interesting to think that they would be putting on Marin more on a heavy damage dueling top laner.
Yeah. He might just go full AD as well, even though it got nerfed. I mean, there's the possibility.
There is that possibility. Well, we could see a Nocturne with all of these jungle picks that are currently off the board, but it will be the Jarvan lock, a champion that we've been seeing more frequently these days with a lot of nerfs to the other junglers. But not that much in Korea. But usually we don't have 3 jungle bans either, so.
Yeah, the only real person that the Jarvan can reliably get onto is the Victor here, right? Because then the Echo can phase dive out of it, then you have the Fizz that can Playful Trickster out of it, you have the Corki that can Valkyrie out of it. So, a little bit of a questionable pick. Maybe they're trying to chain it into a strong top lane ganks with the Maokai and the Jarvan Flag and Drag combo, so
yeah,
a little odd.
I think that the Lee Sin probably is a superior pick right here. Gives you a little bit more presence and damage for dueling in the early game. We'll see how it works out for Ketch. He's going for a big team-fighting jungler alongside the rest of his team, just very focused on these 5v5s right now. SK Telecom, it will be Marin on the Fizz top, Bengi and the Echo jungle. So Marin is going Ignite, Teleport, Fizz top lane.
Yeah.
So that is going to be very, very aggressive. Also means we will not see a Cinder Hulk. So this is a departure from some of the other Fizz builds we've seen.
Definitely.
I'm curious as to what he's going to pick up in terms of his itemization here on the top side. And Bengi will make his debut on Echo. Exciting to see a new champion. And remember that Victor is still a champion Faker is professionally undefeated on. He's 6-0 now, I believe. I'll check it in just a second, but definitely a dangerous pick for SK Telecom. And we are about to get into the game. SKT versus SBENU, Game 1. All right. Welcome to Game 1. SBENU versus SK Telecom. Let's take a look. Yes, Faker is 6-0 on that Victor all-time.
Strong performance, and we see SBENU Sonicboom moving into the bottom lane, the bottom side of SKT's jungle as a 5-man unit. Trying to ward some brushes, get some vision.
And the last time we saw Faker play Victor, it was in their match versus Jin Air from a week ago.
Yeah.
And that game, what's so scary about Faker's Victor is he can completely take over. I think he ended that game 3-0-1, but he took like 5 turrets just through map pressure. And they couldn't remove him from auto-attacking turrets because it took 2 to 3 people to stop him from pushing lanes, and he was very safe about it. So this is a champion where he's got the mechanics, but he also knows the limits of how far he can put the pressure. Now, they know the wards are in their side of the jungle. This has been an increasingly common strategy. Parallel convergence. Here we go. Alistair. There's a stun. Oh, geez. Death Ray goes down. There's a flame, but somebody from SBENU is going to be going down right here. Marin on the side. He's got the Ignite down. Ketch has to flash over the wall. And that is first blood to Corki. Faker's going to have another Death Ray up right now. And there's 2 for SK Telecom as they sense out exactly what SBENU wants to do, and nope.
Right at the edge.
Perfect parallel convergence, absolutely perfect, and that'll be another kill for Bang. And well, that's about the end of this one, I think, guys.
GG FF20. Well, they were not expecting that ward to be there. in the brush of the red buff.
But somebody finally punishes this this invade that we've been seeing more frequently. I mean, this has been a big trend in the past 2 weeks, that ward formation, and them going in. SKT is ready. They have a ward already placed, and then they collapse. But man, that was a nearly perfect engage with the W start from Bengi, and then the Alistar pulverize. It really couldn't have been set up much better. Just a beautiful level 1 fight.
Yeah, it was like a 3-4-man stun with the parallel convergence and
straight into pulverize.
Yeah, dirty, dirty stuff. And look at Bang with a ruby crystal and a long sword and boots. Oh, whoa. Well, that happened.
Nice level 2 gank there from Catch. Good adaptation from SBENU. Faker probably just doing his usual Faker play super aggressive, whether or not I have summoners thing.
Yeah.
Saucin had flash right there. Faker had no summoners after the level 1, so he gets punished for it. Really not going to be too terribly big of a deal, considering that the kill went over to Catch.
Right.
And not to Saucin, and Faker already has a kill and 2 assists.
And Bengi right now in SBENU's top lane, top side jungle, and we're going to see this again.
He definitely did not expect Catch to come from that angle.
Yeah.
SBENU actually, that was a pretty clever maneuver, not even getting the buff, instead getting Catch coming back from the side of the jungle that Faker thought was safe based on the fact that that's where the level 1 fight was. Nice mind game there.
Yeah, well played. But the cost of that gank is going to be that Catch will be 3-buffed.
Yes. So perhaps a little bit troublesome, but 3-buffing definitely worth that kill onto Faker.
Yeah. Would have been better if that kill had gone onto the Zir.
Yes. Yeah, significantly better indeed, but so now SBENU only finds themselves to about 800 gold behind. However, how is this going to translate into some pretty big snowballs in this laning phase? Sivir's not going to be able to really abuse that matchup a whole lot. They're going to try and kill Faker again. They want him while his summoners are down.
Faker smells something fishy right now, and he's staying further back. They know Secret's missing, so that might have been the big tell. They saw Secret move up the river, so he's going to ward.
Finds Secret in the bush right there, gives him a death ray in parting, and Catch is seen by Bengi, who starts dropping some pink wards around the river just to keep Faker a little bit safer until he can get that flash and the heal back up.
And looks like this Fizz is an AD Fizz. So probably going to go Triforce first, maybe into a Blade of the Ruined King as well, followed by tank items. So he's going to be maxing his W first, Seastone Trident.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Marin play some more like assassin champions too, because it's just not something Marin does.
Right, and back when he debuted, he was known for playing heavy roaming top laners back in solo queue with his big hype.
Uh-oh, parallel convergence. Soul going to dodge out that, heads down to the bottom side, catches there. Remember, Bengi has 2 buffs, and that's not going to be a successful gank in the end. Soul not even having to burn a summoner spell right there as Wolf walks into the mid lane.
Both junglers see each other and walk away.
It's a truce, you know.
Yeah, 2 ships passing in the night.
No, not in the night.
Not in the night.
They can see each other, so definitely not 2 ships passing in the day, Barry.
All right, you've got me there. Well, Baker's starting to get pushed in a little bit.
See, that's part of the power of casting, is you have to know your idioms, Barry.
See, English is my second language, so you know
please.
that's my excuse right here.
Yes.
It really is, actually.
I know, but you learned both at such a young age that it's not really an excuse, is it?
You'll never let me have any.
Oh, I thought you have fun. You're on the broadcast right now.
True. That is very true. Well, things have slowed down a little bit. We see a bit of a tussle in the top lane.
Oh, yes, the river back and forth. Marin still hasn't gone back to buy yet, though, so he's going to get pushed out a little bit, but he's not too worried. He's going to be able to get to that wave just fine. They're going back and starting to pick up some pieces of his Trinity Force. Sheen first. It will be Faker getting zoned out pretty heavily, though. He's actually falling significantly behind in terms of CS. And Faker is a player who is, on average, 12 CS up at 10 minutes and 300 gold up on his laning partner. Or opponent, rather. That's one of the most, I think, important statistics to keep in mind about
Yeah.
Faker is that having 300 gold ahead of the enemy mid laner at 10 minutes is a huge amount of gold to be ahead on average.
Definitely, and it's like, what, 3/4 of an amp tome right there? So
Yes.
the fact that you can get your items that much quicker and gonna push out Saucin of the lane.
Yes, once you get rid of him right there, Faker has gone for another Doran's Blade Forbidden Idol for Saucin after that shop when he got some assist gold. But he's still 20 CS in the lead, so having a good time after that gank. Wolf gets found trying to be cute around the enemy blue buff, seeing if anybody was going to walk in there. Deep Ward's already in, though, courtesy of Echo and Bengi. And look at this. Pink Ward's on either side of the mid lane. Deep Ward's in the bottom side. This team plays around Faker so much.
As well as they should, too.
Yeah, they want to go after this blue buff back when it's going to respawn.
Yeah.
So,
well, in the bottom lane, we see a BF Sword versus a Sheen and almost Phage.
Almost Phage not going to complete that item, but Bang's CS lead is pretty commanding at the moment, and Marin starting to create a gap in the top side. This is definitely looking pretty focused on SKT right now, especially after that level 1. Bengi's here with the red buff. No level 6 yet with the Chrono Break. He gets seen, though.
Bengi doesn't know the exact timing of the blue buff, so he's backing off right now. He's going to go do his Raptors, but surely the wards will show catch going towards the blue eventually.
Yeah, it's up right now, as a matter of fact. And so we'll wait to see what exactly SKT wants to do when it comes to contesting this blue buff. Now, the ward is timed out that saw Bengi previously, so he's going to be able to walk up. There's some aggression onto Secret. Combo goes down. Secret pulls catch in. Wolf's actually just going to flash the flag and drag. And now, Boomerang Blade goes out, but very inconclusive engagement. They saw Bengi coming down, I believe.
Right. And Secret got chunked out so hard at the beginning of that engage, too. So even if they had continued, probably at least traded 1-for-1.
Okay, Catch has dropped a ward over the wall into the river brush, so Bengi is seen and now still trying to make some moves on this side of the map. Soul pops his ultimate right there. Marin doesn't have an ult right now. Fish was used.
No Ignite, though. Didn't see an angle for a kill.
Now, SKT has to be careful here. They do not have TP, and Soul does. And even though SBENU's TPs are pretty sad most of the time, that is still going to be a difficult battle to fight if it ends up being a 4v5. So they're just going to go ahead and give it up. Meanwhile, Secret taking the worst end of a trade yet again in the bottom side.
There's not much he can do because just the sheer amount of burst that comes from the Sheen on top of all the magic damage. Thresh just doesn't have enough armor to deal with this because he just passively doesn't have an gain armor.
Yeah, he is squishier in the early game than I think a lot of people suspect. And yeah, just not a whole lot of action ever since that level 1. Bengi gonna hide in the brush right here. Just wait.
I think he was seen.
Yeah, I think he was as well.
Marn feigning down the river. Just gonna recall.
Handing over the blue buff, so cooldown boots for Faker. He's gonna be able to spam a lot more of those death rays to clear out the wave.
Along with his first upgrade on the death laser, so hopefully he'll be able to catch up in CS at this point.
Would be great for him if he could, but he's actually just been losing ground in that department.
Yeah.
For most of this game so far. So credit to Saucin. Tough situation. Figured it was 1-0-2 going in lane, but he and Catch really made it work. Got a kill. Tried to start turning things around, and they've maintained mostly that gold gap that we've seen ever since that level 1 engagement. It's gotten only just a little bit bigger.
Yeah. We'll see when either team decides to pull the trigger on going for that dragon, because I think that's gonna start that's going to be the make or break point for this game, that first dragon fight, when it happens.
Corki getting scary, yeah. And speaking of that dragon, if that Trinity Force is done soon, they're going to have a chance to go for it. But that is going to be a very early Trinity Force. Normally we would see Corki picking it up at between 14 and 15 minutes, but thanks to the kills, it's going to be faster if he wants it. I mean, he already has it, I'm sure, if he wanted to go back right now.
It's just 78 more gold from that point on right there. So they're just backing off. They get the wards down. But Sassen will use his soldiers to take out the pink ward in the pixel brush.
Yeah, those pink wards, especially that one right there in the bottom brush, have stuck around for quite some time. Faker finally getting denied vision, but here comes an engagement. Bengi coming in over the wall. Catch may just take the lantern out. Yes, and Nuclear has to use his ultimate just to disengage. So they are very scared of fighting SKT right now. Soul under the turret. Oh, that was a beautiful bait.
Wow. Well played. He's got him.
That was extremely well played. Just getting him, baiting him into the twisted advance under the turret and then hopping right back out of turret aggro to carry him.
That Urchin Strike was
super good.
Well played.
Marin definitely showing off some neat little mechanical tricks and mind games on this Fizz. And you know, SK Telecom is a team that puts so many resources into the top lane. One of the reasons why Marin has such a high GPM, first off, part of it's his team is winning all the games. Sure, of course that helps, naturally. But it's also because they give Marin a lot of farm. Bang is really the one who suffers in terms of farming on SKT when it comes to who's going to be assigned to lane to really pick up a lot of CS. And when Marin's on a champion like Fizz where he can really get going, that is quite nice indeed.
And that's just because SK Telecom is more of a solo lane-centric team. They have the jungler, you know, really just shoring up the solo lanes, make sure they get ahead. And, you know, Bang's just, like, fantastic player, Bang, but he's also a role player. He cleans up in fights, and he just makes sure he gets steady damage down.
Yeah, absolutely. And SKT definitely a team that knows their identity, which is why I've been surprised that we've seen Marin just kind of prioritize a lot of tanky champions or rumble for fighting in the mid game, but not go for some more fancy mechanical champions like Fizz that add another backline threat. Because usually Marin is just a frontliner. He's not the one threatening the backline in a major way. So interesting to see him, especially because he's, after playing a lot of Hecarim last season, it's really dropped off for him this time around.
It's a little odd.
Yeah, hasn't really been there on some of these teleport engagers, but showing off some skills in the top side.
Ooh, there's a bit of a fight going on top lane. Soul runs away. And meanwhile, Catch has just been setting up. He just pitched a 10 in that brush. He's been there for the last minute or so.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's actually going to get much of anything right here. Faker playing very conservatively at the moment. And now the rest of SKT moving into the river.
So both Trinity forces are complete on the Fizz and the Corki, so they might want to fight this dragon.
Well, they definitely want to start fighting something, whether that's going to be the dragon or trying to take away this blue buff. They are in a very good position to do it. Faker has another upgrade onto his Hex core, so he's got some more mobility off of his Q.
Both teleports are up for top laners, so if they decide to fight here, both of them can come down. We'll have a 5v5, but Catch managed to just run away.
I don't think SBENU can fight this. There's the hook coming in. They missed a skill shot. Do they want to commit to this? There we go. There's a knockover secret over the wall after the flash from Wolf. Chaos Storm actually going to take the blue buff. Marin already there, misses the fish. Sassen trying to do what he can, but he's going to dodge some rockets on the other side of the wall and then back off.
Most likely going to be SKT's Dragon. I don't see any way SBENU can somehow steal it away, so they get this one pretty much for free, I guess.
Yeah, pretty easily. That was a great flash by Wolf. Wolf has really been committing to the Alistar this game in terms of getting that crowd control down. We saw that flash at level 1 and then again right at the blue buff. So a nicely aggressive play. SK Telecom knowing what the cooldowns were, and they catch him out after he shows himself on the hook. Marin here, the topside Soul has his ultimate up, but Marin going to get knocked up by Jarvan. They're going head-to-head at the moment. There's the Ignite. He kills Catch, and then he just playful tricksters out the 1v2 win to Marin.
But can he defend this turret? Thresh is coming up.
Yes.
Oh, well, he will.
I'm going to go with yes. It's not really much you could do to dive this guy right now. Marin doesn't have a lot of HP left on his turret. One thing Soul has been able to do is put a lot of pressure on the tower.
Well,
Same thing in the mid lane, actually. Marn coming in. Bengi is here. There's the fish. Parallel convergence. And he's got a flash, and actually flash right to the proper spot. Doesn't get zoned out by that, but has his summoner spell used in the top side.
Yep, flash down from Maokai, so we'll see if SBENU just wants to just hold lanes, keep farming. Tower, no tower has gone down. It's been 18 minutes into the game, which is fairly late, I think. But we'll see if they just try to extend this laning phase. But I feel like extending the laning phase is just playing into SKT's hand right now.
Well, SBENU has done a good job of chipping out the top and mid turrets. That's one of the weaknesses of playing that top phase. Bengi just going to smite that red buff away. Actually,
I think Catch got it.
Catch got it. That was a little weird, but it looked like it went the other way. But that is Catch with the red buff. And just in terms of the chip damage onto the tower, that's something that you can get if you are playing Fizz, or against a Fizz rather, is his wave clear is very minimal, especially since he's just not going to max that E in lane. And you open yourself up to dive opportunities if you use your E to clear a wave.
All right, well, Marn goes for some little bit damage. Just trying to zone Soul off of the wave, goes back in. Just a wet noodle fight.
Yep. Not a lot of armor yet for Soul, actually. He went for the Catalyst and is only now starting to build armor items. And Marn's doing some pretty good mixed damage with that Trinity Force right now.
Yeah, and it looks like, it almost seems like Marn is looking to go into the Blade of the Ruined King. He just wants to be a big split pushing threat in the top lane.
I think that's exactly right. And if we look at these two compositions, SBENU definitely has the better 5v5 in the late game. A lot more reliable damage coming out of...
Oh, geez.
Okay, Catch. This is going to be the end? Yes. Goodbye.
And he gets the Krug.
That's
just taking everything.
That just adds insult to injury. You die right there as a jungler. You watch this Fizz just come in style on you. And then you have to watch him take your jungle afterwards, the humiliation. Well, Wolf is there just to keep Soul away from the tower and zone him off so they can take this turret. Faker just body blocking the minion wave. And there we go. Bengi actually finds Sasset around the side. Sasset getting very low. Bengi just going to come in over the wall, and that's it. Right there, flashes over the Emperor's Divide, and the Lantern just a hair too late from Secret.
Sasset tried to kind of lock himself in that pit to take out Bengi, because there was no way Bengi was going to get over that wall without with his phase dive already down. But there was just that tiny, tiny gap for him to go around.
Yeah, so now the siege really going down. There's 2 turrets, 3 turrets on 1 push from SKT after those kills. Faker going to get grabbed, but that's not very much. Faker using his heal right there just as a precaution. But 2 turrets in mid, 1 turret in top, and this is the explosiveness of SK Telecom. You give them a window, and we saw this against Jin Air. Jin Air was handily winning their game 2.
Yeah.
It was not a close game. Jin Air made 1 mistake that Faker turned around, and that was it. The rest of the team managed to follow up really well. There is going to be a stun onto Catch. Bengi does not have ult or flash. He is going to die. Or is he? Yes.
Yeah, he dies. It looked like the speed buff from his passive would have gotten him out a little bit, but not quite enough.
Not quite enough. Do you know that Echo is really the only character who it makes sense that he actually comes back to life in this game after you die? Maybe Zillion.
Technically it doesn't make sense because Echo has to be alive to activate his machine.
But he does when he dies.
Does he?
His death animation is his activating his machine.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Well, today I learned. The more you know.
You know, it must be really horrible to be in Summoner's Rift because you're just immortal. It's basically like here we go. And they're coming in from the side. Catch already chunked out. Wow, that was a curved flag and drag. Thanks to the headbutt. Well, SKT still on the hunt. Everyone from SBENU running down to the bottom side, but they are going to get cut off. Maokai could teleport if they knew Morin was there. They see everyone right now. They're trying to run and get out, and they are going to have to use that TP right away. Wolf gets grabbed. Wolf has his ultimate. Everyone else there to follow up if necessary, so SBENU can't commit to this. They have to lose the blue.
And most likely the Dragon, which is coming up in 15 seconds as well.
Yeah, they were led on a nice berry chase there.
So SKT comes out even further ahead.
See, being in Summoner's Rift is a lot like being in Valhalla, which is, of course, the Viking afterlife, where basically you just
drink booze.
You just drink mead, and then in a big hall with the gods, and then you go outside and you fight until you all die, and then you resurrect, and then you go back in and drink some more. So I have to imagine that Summoner's Rift has some sort of, but at the same time, it's kind of a horror of undeath where you can never actually end. Your existence can never end, no matter how much misery is involved in constant combat.
So here's my theory now. You know how like they disassociated the whole like Summoner's Rift with the whole lore of League of Legends, right? So Summoner's Rift is the Valhalla for everybody in Runeterra, and they, you know, all these champions, they die, they go to the afterlife, and they just are eternally fighting at the whims of professional teams.
Okay, so we nailed it. Now finally we actually have some lore that makes sense for Riot to use.
Oh,
That's
man.
also why you get resurrected in the game, because you're already dead.
Riot Games, I accept check or cash. Just mail it to me in Korea.
All right, well, why don't you give him your address on stream here, Barry?
No, I'm not that dumb. All right, well, Marn, split pushing, merrily. I don't think so. Oh, well, okay. I think you could just taken all the damage and just taken that tower.
Well, a little dangerous, even though he does have 1 million wards to protect his split push. Just total vision control for SK Telecom in the top side.
Bengi uses his ult just to skedaddle away quickly. It's actually interesting because Bengi is just using his ult for like vision. He goes in, gets vision, he's like, oh, there's 2 people about to collapse, ult immediately.
Yeah, we've seen some much more interesting uses of Echo's ult in the last few weeks. I mean, it was fun to see Kuro just use Echo as a fast push champion and just come back to lane and just basically auto the tower down while his opponent was also recalling. So he was able to get a pretty fast mid lane turret as a result of those actions. And now, like you're saying, Bengi not shy about using that ult just to get out of hairy situations. Ketch actually got stunned by that on the other side of the wall. Interesting interaction. And SKT turning their eyes towards Baron at the moment. They don't have a lot of pink wards.
And then they're probably just baiting or just trying to get vision. We'll see Faker heading into the top lane to catch that farm, the little bit of farm that is there. Marn gonna push and hopefully get that tower eventually.
Yeah, he's starting to get a huge CS lead compared to Soul.
Yeah.
Just the farm across the board, with the exception of Faker, is up in the favor of SK Telecom, just catching a lot more of those minion waves. Marin going for that pure damage Fizz build. Bit risky in a 5v5, but at the same time, they do have a substantial gold lead.
Who's going to stop Marn? He's 301. He has a Triforce. He has the Blade of the Ruined King. This is probably SBENU's best choice.
This is actually a very good Baron attempt, and Wolf's going to have to face check this one. He's going to see it, actually, in the end.
But
Sasa trying to poke over the wall. There are all 5 of them there, and
Faker
what are they going to do?
in.
There's no TP. That's it. SBENU's going to get it.
Well played by SBENU Sonicboom.
And they're going to flash out in the end using the range on the Azir, and also what we saw there was the Lantern used to get it over the pin. Marn going to split push as much as he can before these members come back. He's not going to get that inhibitor turret.
Well, we'll see if Marn decides to go into more bruisery build from here on out. But I mean, he's sitting pretty. There's no one can 1v1 him. They have to commit at least 2 people, and if they commit 2 people, then SKT is just going to walk over the rest of your turrets. The rest of SKT will, rather.
Yeah.
Bengi gets caught.
Bengi gets caught. Does take a lot of poke damage. Catch comes over the wall, though. They're kind of committing to this one. Bengi is still relatively healthy, and a parallel convergence on top of himself. He's just buying time for Bang to get there before popping out in the end. So SKT continuing to play aggressively, even though the enemy team has Baron. Marn on another split-pushing mission right now as he's going to catch that very large wave in the top side. But there's really nothing SBENU can do with this Baron. There's no lane that is ripe for pushing at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, the most they could get maybe is the bottom lane turret. I think it was less than half health when we last saw it. But SKT has good wards. They're not letting them pass the river. And Marn applying pressure in the top lane now.
Yep, just going straight on through.
So we see the Glacial Shroud, so he's probably going into a Frozen Heart next, which is great. CDR is Biz's best friend.
Yeah, that's going to make him extremely durable. Against this Sivir rather, and also SBENU. Yeah, they still have a superior team composition in the late game. That is
definitely true.
Pretty much unquestionable as long as they can force a 5v5 engagement, and they have bought themselves some more time to get there. Magic resist going to be a big factor. SKT very vulnerable to MR stacking because Marin just isn't tanky right now, which means that he's going to be very easy to kill in team fights.
Ooh, SKT's maybe getting flanked here. Faker flashes out.
Wow, catch going very deep. There's actually a Faker going to go down to Sasin. They've caught Wolf also. There was a TP into the Jarvan pit during that fight, so 2 for 0 in favor of SBENU as they really commit. Nicely done.
Faker got deleted in that one.
Well, it was a 5v2.
Yeah.
There was a good call from Ketch. Ketch actually used his Jarvan ult and then dropped a ward in the pit so that Soul could get there. So now SBENU really starting to capitalize on this Baron buff. SKT pushed back to the brink right now.
They might be able to get this inhibitor turret.
I don't think they can get the inhibitor, but the inhibitor turret is probably something they can do. See how fast they can push forward. Wolf is back up right now. How much do they want to commit? There's the fish down onto Secret. Secret going to get knocked up. Marin in the middle of the fight. Has to flash out. He's a little bit vulnerable. He's still on the perimeter. Bang actually pulls Soul over the wall with him. And Marin on the way through. Double kill for him.
Alive again.
Faker's alive. There's the Q. Sasin just bends his Sand Soldiers through the wall. Marin still going after Nuclear Spell Shield down. Now he's just going to use a heal, summoner heal from Bang to secure that kill. That'll be enough with the damage over time. And Wolf finds Sasin and knocks him into a wall. Wolf has to run. Bang there. Bang gets him with the Phosphorus Bomb. Bang doesn't even have to flash to finish up that kill. And now that is SBENU overstaying their welcome. They got the turret, and then they tried to get the inhibitor, and that was just a step too far.
Might have been a little bit of desperation playing at SBENU. They saw a window and they tried to get as much as they could out of it, but they just bit off more than they could chew.
And now Faker has the Lich Bane, of course, an item that he started building on Victor this season that's been taken up by a lot of other pro players. Just the mobility that it gets you is pretty ridiculous. Going for the Home Guard enchant this time, just to get out of base during that very scary siege.
The possible 1-3-1 from SKT is quite high. Mainly because you have 3 Sheen items across, you have Bang with his Triforce, you have Marin with his Triforce, then you have Faker with his Lich Bane. So they could go for a 4-1 or 1-3-1, depends on what they're feeling safer with. But it just really depends on how hard SBENU can just find them out of position.
Well, that is, and with the ward coverage that SKT has had this game, that is getting pretty difficult. And they may have gotten a Baron, but there's still 3 dragons in the hole, and they're still nearly 10K behind. So, I mean, SBENU, it was a nice sneak of that Baron. SKT definitely didn't respect their ability to do it. It was a good shot call from SBENU to know that they had so many champions that could get over the wall to provide that damage.
Definitely.
But here we go. Now here they come on to Marin. Marin has no flash, remember. So that's going to be a Playful Trickster. He's going to get under the turret. That turret has nearly no health.
But Playful Trickster was almost up, and I think SBENU knew that as well, so they decided to back off and not give up the mid lane inhibitor.
But, well, is that true? I mean, yeah, it's going to be the big question here is how fast Bang can push this before people get back. He's certainly going to get a decent amount of damage down with that Sheen. And see it nearly falls. So the cost of that attempted gank. Now, they got the top turret by pushing out the wave. It was just hanging by a thread. Oh, but that is definitely...
Well, now Marin in the bottom lane catching that big wave, pushing towards that tier 1 there. So, Faker farming the jungle.
Not sure why Faker needs to be doing this right now, but...
He's got to keep his GPM up.
Don't need to be taking Gromp right now. Or Scuttle Crab. There's no reason. Dragon is not going to come up for another few minutes. And that is little bit of a lack of pressure on the map right now, especially when Faker can just siege so effectively with this Victor.
Yeah, and okay, SBENU sends 2 people to deal with Marn, possibly 3. SKT, meanwhile, in the middle. And they seem reluctant to commit to the split push right now.
Yeah, a bit strange, actually. Maybe they just really want to go for this Baron. There aren't any SBENU wards that can really detect whether or not they're doing it. And SKT can certainly do the Baron insanely fast with this composition. They have 2 Blades of the Ruin King.
Yeah,
a ton of damage onto that monster. And here we go. Ward dropped over the pit, quickly cleared out. Marin looking to change his split push up into the mid lane. He actually is going to find that pink ward, and Soul just not going to go on to him.
Well, SBENU, a little bit afraid of the Baron right now. They play some wards and then back off immediately.
Yeah, they have to be very afraid of the Baron, but SKT going back on a shopping trip while Marin continues to press forward. Getting tankier by the minute. There he goes, on to Soul. Soul taking just a huge amount of damage. Marin is now past the Flame Horizon, 100 CS, over his top lane opponent.
Yeah, and I wonder what item he's going to go next. He has that Negatron cloak. Is he trying to go for a Guardian Angel or maybe a Mercurial Scimitar?
Wow, Marin just can't be stopped right now. Soul just doesn't do enough damage, and he just gets a fish tossed on top of him. And now Soul in a big world of hurt. There's the Urchin Strike going forward, and Martin's going to tank both towers easily.
And is that the inhibitor? Nope. Martin's going to teleport. Oh, he doesn't get it. It's canceled.
And there's a fight with Sasa going down. He's going to strike through. Sasa has to use his heal. Is that going to be it? Marin is super fed. And that is going to result in him solo killing both Soul and Sasson and taking an inhibitor turret and taking the inhibitor.
Marin's Fizz play is actually really good. He's dodging a lot of spells with this Urchin Strike. He knows exactly when and where to use it.
Yeah, he's got the cooldowns really well memorized of his opponent's abilities just so he can outplay them on this champion. It definitely has been quite impressive to watch.
Yeah, that's the second inhibitor that'll go down for SBENU Sonicboom, and SKT is sitting pretty. Oh, Sweetgrass the flash.
He was afraid of the remaining damage coming in from Faker. Faker able to chase very well with this Lichbane, and that's going to be it. Soul gets caught and punted right out, just chain CC'd, and there, catch going to go in. That is not going to be enough damage as we have Bang mercilessly pushing down the turret. Marin has the GA now, so he's going to try and get some style points. Just crushes Secret behind the Nexus, and that'll be it.
Oh, whoa.
Big ult, but it's not going to be enough as they're going to kill Sivir and then turn on to the Nexus at the end. Bang goes down with a double kill for Marin, but that is it. So very one-sided game, except for SBENU extending it by a hair, taking that sneak Baron. It was a good call.
Yeah.
But that level 1 put them in a big, big hole.
Yeah, Marin was so dominant on Fizz, like in the mid to late game. Especially that 2v1 and at the bottom inhibitor. That was, I thought he was dead for sure.
I mean, even that tower dive that he did solo onto the Maokai was extremely impressive. I mean, I did not expect Marin to deliver this kind of Fizz performance. Yes, he was playing against the last place team in the league, but that was some seriously good Fizz.
That is very good indeed. And yeah, SBENU Sonicboom, back to the drawing board. What do they do? There's just too many things to ban. What can you do as a bottom tier team?